Hi guys, it is Dom here from Soundsphere. We just chatted to Ian from Sounds Pretty Grim. We're going to be doing more interviews with YouTube channels this year, 2024, and I absolutely fell in love with Ian's work with Sounds Pretty Grim. So please check this out. Please check the channel out. There's some great videos on Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar, The Crow, all things that I love. So that's why we did it, and hopefully you guys love it too, and really invest in Ian's channel because it's fantastic, and there's so much effort that goes into it. So yeah, thank you for watching this interview. Really appreciate it. We'll see you soon. I am here to talk to you today about your fantastic looking channel. Sounds Pretty Grim. Gotta say, I've very much enjoyed listening to your tones, your vocal tones when I'm doing work and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of effort that goes into your videos.
Thank you.
First encountered you because Antichrist Superstar is one of my favorite records of all time. And
Great.
then when you popped up with the Crow video, one of my favorite
Yeah.
films of all time, I was like, this is cool. So tell me about the kind of the genesis of Sounds Pretty Grim. What made you want to create it? What made you want to fill your time with, tireless editing? Because it's not something you just put out there. You're finding video clips, you're composing music. So why
Mhm.
did you create Sounds Pretty Grim, Ian?
I think I've been dabbling in sort of my own version of music criticism for a couple decades now, just on like band forums. I'll just write some sort of audio file based review of something and people would dig it, and I do that for a while. But then so I had all like sort of all these unfinished or finished posts, and nobody really goes on forums anymore. So I like moved them over to Reddit and I wrote some new ones, and then like people took all the Reddits down in protest or something. So I was like, all right, I'll go to YouTube. That should stay up for a while, and start doing it there. And I have kind of an interest in like low budget filmmaking. I've never done it. This is the first video I've ever made. Like I made movies when I was like 10 years old with a Sony Handycam, but I haven't done anything since. So I just downloaded DaVinci Resolve and I'm like, you know what? I'll make a video. I've seen some, music reviews on YouTube before, but it's kind of hard to make something like visually interesting out of, a review of an album. Um, Movies easy. You just grab an action scene, you show it. But so I was just doing some like practical effects, just playing with my camera, doing slow motion, and it all kind of came together. It's just like an amalgamation of a couple of my different hobbies. And yeah, I put it out there, just gave it a shot, and it's doing okay. People are noticing. Uh, it's doing
Yeah.
better than I thought it would, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what do you want to achieve with it? Because I know you've got a Megadeth video coming.
Yeah.
Is this for love, or have you got kind of grand aims for it? Because again, aesthetically, it looks fantastic. The content is good. What are your goals for the future with it, really?
I think I noticed when I have kind of a conversation with somebody, like I meet at a club or at a concert or in a bar about music, it's the type of conversation I have with them is very different than what I have online.
Mhm.
So it's there's just something about meeting, like, oh, nice Megadeth t-shirt. Do you like that? And it's like very positive and friendly. And I just kind of wanted to sort of capture that. There's something kind of uh, exciting about seeing somebody talk about something they're really passionate about.
Mm.
And like I'm doing albums from like, they're like 30, 25 years old. It's not like like I'm reviewing new stuff. But I just think it's really interesting to watch somebody who's really passionate about one thing just kind of explain it. If you're a fan of it, you're like, yeah, yeah. And I'm looking to bring like fresh perspectives to things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do the scores myself. I kind of like I'm inspired by that piece, and I'm like, you know what? I'll score it. I'll do some music. It's
Mm.
I've recorded music like all this crap here is just from my music hobby. I didn't buy anything for the channel. It's all like music stuff. Like on my I don't have a tripod. You're on a mic stand here. So I just hacked it together for cheap with dollar store stuff and just shit I had. So
It's cool, man. I was going to ask, obviously, that music, that you compose the music for the videos. How long have you been a musician for? And tell me about that journey.
yeah, I picked up a guitar when I was maybe 9 years old, 10 years old. Tascam Porta Studio 424 a few years later, and I just got into recording. I loved the tape era. I got right into digital when it started, so I've had a music computer for decades. But I'm just like I'm slow, and I'm really self-critical. So I never really finish anything. I'm going to. This is whole thing has actually kind of finishing a video and like a score for it in a small amount of time has kind of like I've learned some really good work habits from it.
Mm.
Things I might have been missing. And yeah, there's definitely pressure to hurry up on YouTube. I took too long with my last one. People were like, "Oh, you're back. We thought you died." It's like it was like 8, 12 weeks. I don't know. But
People were
yeah.
excited when that second video popped up. Man.
Yeah, it's not doing it. It didn't quite catch on fire as the first one. I think people like they saw the music review and they're like, "Oh, I haven't seen a music review like this." But movie reviews, they're not exactly thin on the ground on YouTube, especially comic book based ones. So I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna course correct a little, go back to music. We'll
I
see.
saw there was a thing in your end credits where you were like, "This took far too long."
Yeah.
Like, that was a little Easter egg in the credit as to what you were going to be doing in the future. But I was going to be my question was, what are the realities for anybody who looks at Sounds Pretty Grim and goes, "Man, that looks great. I'm going to do that." But like the realities of putting together, tirelessly because you're not just piecing this together. You're not just quickly mashing scenes together. You are it's a product. You have put something together which is it's really well done. So what are the realities of doing something to that level of effort? How much time does that take? And talk about the realities of pulling that together.
Yeah, it takes a while for me. Again, the Crow one was the second video I ever made. The first one was like a long learning process. I was just watching other people's YouTube videos about like how to use the damn software, and I'm not so I've never edited anything. I feel like I have a sense of how to edit though, like just from watching movies, but I don't know. I know when something's bad. Um, but yeah, if you're getting started in something like this, I think what I did is just I was inspired by something and I'm like, I'm gonna turn that into something else. And this is what happened. It's just a bit I like gaudy lighting, I like goth music, I like heavy metal. I'm just gonna put all that together. It's like I guess my inspiration was like Wayne's World, but like gothic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I said get out there, do it. It's this isn't how I imagined it. Like it just evolved. I wasn't even gonna be on camera. And then I found out my little camera actually did video. I didn't know it. I just took it hiking shots with it and it looks okay. Um, but yeah, I just go for it. If you have an
It,
idea, go for it. Super easy. Grab your phone. This is my phone.
yeah.
This looks better than my camera actually. I'm looking at it like, Jesus, I should use this.
It's cool, man. It's good. It's a good kind of note for other creators, and I think that's great. And I mean, that goes on to my question about the aesthetic. I can see in the background you talk about goth music and goth culture there. Obviously your first videos were Antichrist Superstar,
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson, and The Crow. How important is aesthetic and image to you, Ian? Not just for Sounds Pretty Grim, but I guess in your across your creative output.
It's a good question. I guess it's pretty important. I think you sort of need to have an image if you're I mean for putting yourself out there. There has to be people need to be able to describe you in a couple words if they're going to recommend you to somebody. So like this weird spooky guy from Boston who reviews music, like boom, that's my little thing. So I need to kind of play that up, not play it up, but just like lean into it. Like, yeah, okay. That's like a hyper stylized version of me, I guess. Um, but it's pretty simple too. I mean, jeans jacket, t-shirt, whatever. So I don't think about it, but I try to stress like, okay, that's on brand for me, whatever my brand ends up being.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Where does the fascination with goth culture come from for you? Again, take me back to your younger years. Where did that start?
oh man, I don't know. I always liked the horror stuff. Like even when I was a kid, just like Halloween special scary cartoons, that stuff always grabbed me. I got into heavy metal very young, probably like 8 or 9 years old, raiding my older sister's record collection. And just like the spookier, the better. If there was something like just very dark and had, I don't know, just a demon on the cover, I was just, oh, that's for me. Just this very young age. And I guess it just went from there. And when the 90s came around, mid 90s, when I was sort of coming of age, I was still pretty young when The Crow came out, but that was all that entered into my consciousness. I'm like, oh, there's this. subculture of people who like dark stuff aside from like heavy metal. And I was like, wow. So I guess I don't really consider myself goth, and I don't really know anything about goth. I guess I just like spooky stuff and reverb. And so there's a Venn diagram, like, but
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, no, Count Duckula, The Undertaker, and uh, yeah, just old horror movies, Hammer horror movies, especially. And then here I am, I guess. Yeah,
Absolutely, the melting pot that turned into sounds pretty grim. You're speaking my language there, Ian.
uh,
Count Duckula, and obviously, like I'm a huge wrestling fan, and so yeah,
I noticed. Yeah.
all those things were a big part of my upbringing as well, which is I think why because we do a lot of kind of pop culture interviews around
Mhm.
kind of music, wrestling, comic books, and stuff. But we're kind of doing more and more YouTube stuff and you know spotlighting channels as the time goes on. But because I see so much content, I was like, when I saw your stuff, I was like, you are speaking my language.
Aw,
Let's find out more about this guy. And you know, I'm kind of there's no real structure with my questions, so they're a little bit all over the place because I'm so interested in your journey. Going back to
thank you.
your music, I actually confess I tried to find it. I tried to figure out your socials where it was. Where do people find your music? Is it out there yet, or is that something that is coming?
There's some stuff out there.
Do you
I'm
want to
redo
advertise it, or like?
I'm redoing. I'm trying to keep this a little separate. Like it's like I mean like peas and mashed potatoes. I like them, but like they can't touch.
Okay.
So like eventually I don't want to like I don't know what I'm gonna do about it in the future. I just don't want to like make some content and then also shill for my other projects in it. Like I'm really conscious of that. Um of
Okay.
I'm trying not to I don't know if I'm ever going to monetize or anything like that because it was such a pain in the ass to edit down the crow video into
Oh
a way
yeah.
that would be like I was like that's copyrighted too. Oh Jesus God. And it was just that's why it took so long because it kind of killed my creativity.
Yeah.
I was making decisions based on find like oh, okay, this will be financially good. And I was like forget it, I just posted it. um yeah, I got
Yeah,
lost there
man.
for a second.
No, it's okay. I was asking. It just yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation. But in terms of if someone wanted to find your music,
Oh yeah, yeah.
if someone wanted to find, where would they find it? What name
All
do you
right.
go under?
I have one song up. It's on Facebook, I guess. The project called Undergloom,
Under
and
Gloom, right?
I'm
Okay.
redoing. It's like, oh God, that song's like 7 years old now. I have like a 3 song EP that I'm working on, but I'm kind of focusing on the channel now. I mean, I was gonna leapfrog back and forth like channel music, but I think this is gonna be kind of full time for a little bit. So,
Nice
but it's
one,
out
man.
there. Undergloom, go ahead. Whatever.
Yeah.
It sounds like crummy typo negative. So,
I'm excited to check it out. Absolutely, and a
uh,
cool name as well. You know,
thank
Under
you.
Gloom. Nice.
It's from the Iliad, I think.
Okay.
One translation of the Iliad.
So give me a little bit of background again into, you know, obviously pull back the curtain as much as you want to do. What is your background? You know, you mentioned obviously an interest in films, an interest in music, but like, are these hobbies for you? Like, what do you do? What do you do in your spare time, if there is any? And what motivates you? What inspires you outside of the things we've been talking about, music, film? What about outside of that?
Outside of that, yeah, I mean everything's adjacent to music in some way. Like that comes, I mean that works into almost all of my hobbies. But yeah, film. I'm a beginner on that. I'm a consumer of film and music mostly. Outside of that, I do a lot of like outdoor stuff, hiking, mountain climbing. I might incorporate some of that into a video in the future. Maybe go somewhere haunted, something like that, and
Mm.
some spooky woods stuff. Uh, but yeah, I tend to get distracted by hobbies, and I'll find some and just accumulate them. So I couldn't tell you what I'm going to be doing like a year from now. Maybe this, maybe I'll be golfing. Like I don't know. I just it's my attention span. It's not low, but like I just get something in my head. Like I'm gonna do a YouTube channel. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sleep in the woods for 7 days and come back without food. Like a whole thing. I do shit. I don't
Yeah,
know.
man, I feel that. Like I'm neurodivergent, so I feel a lot of that stuff. I'm like doing a million things, but it's good for
Uh,
creativity. Blessing and a curse in a lot of ways, I think.
yeah, yeah. I
More,
mean,
yeah,
I have it fills my time. So
yeah, yeah. It's good. It's good. I like that, man, and I really appreciate you sharing part of your journey with me. I do have a few more questions. Probably should
Sure.
have prepped you on these ones because they can be quite difficult if you sort of jump them on somebody. But top five bands and artists, Ian, of all time, and why, please?
All right. I'm bad at arranging things in a logical order like that, but I will answer. This is my answer today.
Okay,
Tomorrow it's going to be five different bands. Uh, let me see. Bands or albums? You said bands?
bands.
Okay. Oh, see, that's a different question. I'm gonna go Megadeth just because it's my first love. You never forget your first love. Uh, that just got me into heavy metal, got me into music. I think it was just really appealing to a little kid because it's heavy metal is kind of silly in a way, and I like saw it. I was like, okay, that's very silly. I like that. Um, and just the musicians. I mean, so many things about Megadeth. Um, oh man, I'll say Opeth, Swedish death metal band. Well, I guess they're prog death metal band nowadays. Particularly Blackwater Park, 2000s era. David Bowie, huge David Bowie fan. Geez, that's actually kind of. I'm gonna throw Marilyn Manson in there too because Marilyn Manson got me into David Bowie just when I was in
Th-
high school. He's just like,
oh,
"Hey, check out this David Bowie guy." I was like, "Okay, yeah." So, and I want to pick something not heavy metal here. I'm gonna say Sisters of Mercy. I love Sisters of Mercy. I
nice.
love how their albums sound. I love lots of reverb. I love yeah, I love their drum machine. Oh my god. Um yeah, that's a pretty good top five. Ask me another day, it's gonna be five completely different bands. So
Yeah, man. I like Sisters of Mercy are from Yorkshire as well, where I'm from. So yeah, look, yeah, we've got a good little scene for goth music and culture here. So yeah, it's
nice.
good. Okay, top five films.
Top five films. Oh god. Let me see. Citizen Kane is such a boring answer, but I love that movie. Actually, all my top five films kind of have the same plot. So I'm going to say well, not the same plot, but the same themes. Citizen Kane, Apocalypse Now. It's really somebody just ruining themselves chasing after something. So I don't know why those appeal to me. Citizen Kane, Apocalypse Now, Aguirre, The Wrath of God, kind of an obscure one. Uh, you know what? Mad Max Fury Road. I'm gonna say that got me. That's the last movie I saw in theaters. I'm like, that's they're not gonna top that. Um, The Crow. I'll say The Crow. That's number five. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah,
And that's one I'm not going to call it the best movie, but it's one of my favorites.
absolutely. It's embedded in the culture, and also, yeah, my brain as well as yours, Ian, by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
Just
the criteria for me doing a video on it is I can talk about something for like 4 hours without stopping, and so it's like Antichrist Superstar, The Crow, something else. So yeah, I have to put The Crow on that list.
Yeah, man. I dig it. I was like, again, I was so the depth and intrigue that you kind of put across. I think that's why a lot of
Oh,
people invested in it, and I think hopefully they will continue to do that. And that kind of, oh no, I'm going to squeeze another one in there for you just for my interest before we
yeah.
do the plug-in questions, messages to supporters, etc. Is favorite live bands? You can be 3 to 5 because I know it can be difficult. What have been your favorite live experiences, Ian, and why?
I'll give you my favorite live experiences, not necessarily my favorite live bands.
Okay.
I saw Ronnie James Dio once. His voice live, I he's just like he's on the record. He was in his 60s, I think. Like not even one of my favorite acts, just like or one of my favorite bands to. I mean, I love Dio, but they didn't make my top five. But live, wow. David Bowie. I went to the VH1 Storytellers thing. I went to like a fan club only show in '99. He played Low all the way through the album Low. That was unbelievable. That was if I could relive any show, it would be that one. Oh man, band called Porcupine Tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, them live. I saw them on their In Absentia tour. I didn't like them on the album. Then I saw them live, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are amazing. Uh, was that three?
Yeah,
um,
yeah, that was it. You go with one more if you want. It's up to you.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do another one. Let me think. Who have I seen recently?
I've now put you under pressure. This is why I try and pre-prepare people if I can, but it tends to catch people off guard. But yeah, who have you seen
Yeah,
recently? Or you could be an older one.
yeah. Oh my God. You know what?
Or bands you'd like to see. You could go with the band you'd like to see.
I'm gonna say actually I'm gonna throw Marilyn Manson in there too. I saw him at the or saw them at the WBCN River Rave in 2000, 2001. It was an
Oh,
amazing show.
that would have been a great tour. But yeah, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, great show. They blew Aerosmith off the stage because they only played 5 songs and left. I think they were mad that they weren't headlining. And then they just killed Manson came out just killed. I'd never seen them that good. Like they were so good. Sometimes it's hit or miss. But that was
Yes,
a good
yeah.
show. Yeah.
That's a period of time where I wish I'd have seen them. I first saw them in 2004, and it was really good. But then that sort of started particularly on festival shows, the decline because of various factors. That just I don't know, maybe just
Yeah.
I only saw that 2004 show was like transformational for me. I was like, this is
Yeah.
amazing. But then every time I've seen them since, I've been like, eh, you know,
Yeah, they had a really good band at that, like a good
yeah,
live band that
yeah.
like it's better than just having a bunch of skilled players. They have to have a
Oh,
relationship where they
yeah.
yeah, and just touring that many years. And then if you just change one thing or change everybody, it might work, it might not. Like it takes time to develop that. And I think just people who go through lineup changes like that, it's hit or miss.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. There's some interesting stories around those tours as well from acquaintances of mine. But yeah, great to hear about your journey and what you've got
Oh, thank
planned
you.
for the channel. I think this is the time in the interview where kind of I ask if I've missed anything. Is there anything else you'd like to promote? Is there anything you'd like to say to people that have supported you and will continue to do so? Anything you'd like to plug, really?
I'll just plug the channel. It sounds pretty grim. It's pretty. There's only a couple videos there now, but I'm hoping to have a good library. Somebody shows up, sees the kind of stuff like, oh, I like that one. I like that one. I'm gonna watch these. They're yeah, check them out. They're a little different, and I'm gonna try to just get a little more ambitious with them as we go until I get bored. So check it out.
Fantastic, fantastic. There's a Megadeth one coming next.
Yeah,
And
Peace Sells Blues Buying, my first album that I ever fell in love with. And
yeah.
after that, I have the rest of 2024 planned, but I'm just going so much slower than
I,
expected. So we'll see.
I was going to say, could you give us a glimpse into the grim future, as it were? Is there anything else you're really excited about doing outside of the Megadeth one?
Uh, I'd like to work toward like because I'm doing all these really old albums. I mean, 30, 25, 30, 40 years old.
Mm.
I'd like to kind of get involved in some newer music, maybe some like smaller bands, just kind of getting a scene going. It's so hard. Scenes are kind of hard to get together nowadays. Everything's kind of spread out. Um, and it just for small bands, it'd just be neat to just get in touch with people, just geek out about spooky stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, you mean like doing music videos for people or just promoting bands and
Yeah,
artists?
I don't know what I don't know. I mean, there's been musicians getting in touch with me like, oh, hey, you should like take a listen to my stuff. And it's like, okay, maybe I'll feature some independent artists, later on when I get better and faster at doing these, or when I have some sort of clout, because who the hell am I? I just like talk about music and how it sounds. So, but something like that, or yeah, I'd love to. I don't know if somebody likes my editing, I can screw around with something. I'm a beginner. I'm an
Yeah.
outside artist. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna follow where it takes me, where the road takes me.
Sounds good. Last question is going to be a deep one then, relating to what you just said there. In terms of the future, you mentioning, obviously you kind of trying to build that notoriety, trying to build the channel. What would success look like for you, Ian? What would be successful for you? Do you want millions of dollars in monetization, or do you just want to create a legacy for yourself as a creative artist?
I don't know if I want either of those. I just want to. I think I just want to connect with people. It's been I'm not super happy with the state of online discourse usually, like fan forums and things like that. So like I don't know, just meet some friendly people who like to create stuff and yeah, see what happens. I mean, you know, I'm happy when people watch, but yeah, I don't think I have like a number in
Right.
mind or anything like that or an end goal, just something I can do for a while that's fun. And if it gets anything, in fact, if it gets more complicated than that, I'm not gonna like it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just do my thing and yeah, not worry about all the other stuff. So,
That sounds good, man. Well, good luck to you as well.
oh,
And obviously, I will continue to support the channel. Hopefully,
thank
people
you.
consuming this will as well. Obviously, everybody check out Sounds Pretty Grim, and please do support Ian's work. And thank you so much for making the time for me today. And I really, really appreciate it. It's lovely to get a vibe for what you're trying to do.